Hello everyone, welcome back to Code with Beto. I'm super excited to be here back again with you guys with another video. And if you are new to the channel, make sure that you subscribe because in this video, we're going to learn how to use keyboard avoiding view with React Native. And here we have a demo of what we're gonna be doing. Basically, we have this classic example of a chat application with ChatGPT nowadays. And if I select the keyboard, the input, you're gonna see that we are not covering the input with the keyboard. And this is going to work as well with Android. If I select the input, you're gonna see that we have this behavior. And of course, you can extend this functionality. For example, like auto scroll down in the flat list, or you can, make your own changes. But basically, this is what we're gonna be doing. I think this is a pretty painful subject, especially if you are learning React Native. So we're gonna clear the water in this video. So let's start. Okay guys, so before we start, make sure that you go to codewithbeto.dev and check out all the resources that we offer here, especially the projects. If you are interested in the code for this video, you can just go to codewithbeto.dev/projects and you can find here the project that we're going to be doing today, as well as all the videos and the projects that we create in this YouTube channel. And once you're here, I invite you to check the React Native course that we have here and the premium resources. I'm sure that it's going to help you to level up as a software engineer, especially with React Native. Okay, so now that's been said, we can start by creating our new project. So I'm gonna use Expo for this video. So in order to create a new React Native Expo application, we can run the command npx create Expo app. And this application is going to be using a template. So I'm going to write template. And we're going to be asked which template we want to use with Expo. So I'm going to use the one that comes with TypeScript and navigation because I don't want to waste time integrating navigation, right? So let's choose this one. And the app name is going to be just tutorial avoiding view maybe, and hit enter. Now let's wait a little bit until this is done. Okay guys, so the project is ready. So I'm going to access my new folder called tutorial avoiding view and open this by running the shortcut code dot to open it on Visual Studio Code. Okay guys, and here we have our newly created React Native application that is using Expo Router, by the way. Expo Router, it's a new router for React Native, so the navigation is going to be a little different, but you don't have to pay too much attention if you are not familiar with Expo Router because we are not going to be touching anything about that. We're just gonna be modifying the screens that we have inside these tabs. But just to see what we have here, I'm going to run this application on my simulator by running the command npx expo start. And then I'm going to press Command Control Z and reload this application. So we load this new application that we just created. Now, you're gonna notice that we have this app folder and in the right side in the iPhone, we have two tabs, tab 1 and tab 2. So the tab 1 is going to be inside this app. You can see this folder called tabs, and inside tabs, we have this layout and the index, which is the tab number 1. I'm going to close my terminal so we don't have to see the terminal. And as you can see here, this is the tab number 1, and we can start by deleting all these because we are not going to be using it. Hit save, and let's go to tab number 2 down here and delete this that we are not going to be using. Okay, so this is tab 1, tab 2, and one thing that I want to do actually is that I want to go to my layout, and inside my tabs, I want to say that I don't want to show my header, so I'm gonna say header shown equal to false and hit save. So we don't have to see the header because we're not gonna be using it. And now I can close this and close this tab 2 as well. And for the tab 1, we're gonna need some dummy data. And I have here some messages that I created using ChatGPT. So let me just copy this conversation down here. These are going to be the messages that we are gonna be using. And as you can see here, it's basically just an array of objects, and each object is going to have an author, which is going to be bot or user. and the message. Okay, nice. So now that we have the dummy data, we can start by displaying the data on the screen using a flat list. So I'm going to be using a flat list, and I'm going to specify the data to be my array conversation like this. Now, flat list is going to take a couple things apart from the data. The first one is going to be the render item, and this is going to return the item like this. And we need to render a JSX element for this. So for now, I'm going to use the text that they have here, and I'm going to render the item dot message for each element. Nice. Now we also need to specify a key extractor. And for the key extractor, I'm going to be using as well the item that they provide us. But the item, as you can see here, we can access the item that we are iterating, which is going to be at the end of the day, the author and the message. But we need an unique ID. So we can say index like this. We can access the index. And because we are not going to be using the item for this, we're going to be using just the index. We can do this, and then we can say index, but this is going to mark an error because we are using TypeScript in this case. And this key extractor needs to be a string, and this index, it's the index of the array, which is a number, but we can say to string, and this is going to make the error go away. Now we can hit save, and if I hit save, you're gonna see that we have all the data on screen. Okay, that was easy. So we can start by creating now a component that is going to render the message, each message, okay? And I'm gonna do that up here because I don't wanna be creating more files and making this video super complicated. So I'm gonna create this bubble message component here, and I'm going to return for now just a view from React Native. Oops, from React Native. And this view, as you can see here, we are importing it from the theme, and it's fine. I'm gonna leave it like that for now. Now, we're gonna be getting some properties in this bubble message. The first one, it's going to be the author and then the message. So I can just copy this author like this, and then we're gonna be getting the message, which is basically a string. Now we need to say the type of this, and the author is going to be string, and the message is going to be string as well. Okay, now that we know the types that we're going to be getting here, we can actually just display the message by using another text, and I'm going to say message. Now hit save, and now if we go back here, instead of rendering this text, we can render the bubble message that we have, and we can pass the properties that this component is expecting, that is author and message. And these properties are going to be inside this item, so we can use the ... spread by saying item, and automatically we're passing all the properties that this object has, which is author and message. Cool. We have the same thing here. Now, if you notice, we are we are putting some content in the battery and the status bar, so we can avoid that just by wrapping this component. Oops, sorry about that. We can wrap this component in a in a safe area view, okay, from React Native. Okay. Now I'm going to cut this and paste it down here, hit save, and delete this string. Okay, now we are not seeing anything because we need to add some style here. I'm gonna say flex1, so we use the whole screen. Now if I hit save, you're gonna see that now our content is nicely displayed inside the screen, and it's looking good. Now we can start by adding some styles, so we can actually start seeing which message are us and which message are from the bot. So we can do that here. I'm gonna add a style to this view, and the first style that I want to create is going to be a background color, and the background color is going to depend on a condition, and the condition is going to be the following. If the author that we are getting as property, it's equal to the user, we want to have a background blue, otherwise a black background, a little gray, little black, and it's going to look something like this. Now, I don't want to take the whole width, so I'm gonna say max width of 80% of the screen, like this. Hit save, and we can align this content to the left and right by accessing the same conditions. So I'm going to copy this one here and hit save. Cool. Now, you notice that the content is centered, and this is because when we create this application, it came with this align item center and justify content center. So if I delete that, we're gonna have this effect now. Cool. Now we can come back here and actually keep adding a little more styles. So I'm gonna say padding of 10 and border radius of 15. Hit save. And now our messages are looking good. Nice, perfect. Once we have that, we can actually go back to the flat list and add a content container style. And this container style, it's going to style basically the container of all the messages. So I'm going to say padding horizontal of 15. Nice. We can actually say 15 or 10. You can play with these numbers. And we can add a gap. If you didn't know, we can now use gap with React Native since React Native 7.71, I believe. So I'm gonna say gap of 5. And this is going to be basically the separation between each message. And yep, as you can see, it's looking pretty good. Okay, now that we have our data, we can actually start creating the input. And for my input, I'm going to create a new component inside this folder components. I'm gonna name it just input.tsx. Oops. And for this input, I'm going to import, well, I don't need to import anything. I'm just gonna say export default function input. And this input is just going to be a basic text input from React Native. So I'm going to import it like this and make sure that you import it from React Native like this. Perfectly. Okay, now I'm going to say placeholder, maybe write a message, for example, and I want to specify the color. So I'm gonna say placeholder text color equal to white, and we can also add some styles. Now for these styles, I'm just going to copy some styles that I have here so I don't have to write them again. Basically, I'm just giving it a width of 1, border color gray, border radius 10, padding 15, and color white. The color is going to be the text, obviously. Now, if we go back to the index, down here, after the flat list, we can use this input component that we just created and hit save. And as you can see here, we have our inputs. Now, if I select this input, you're gonna see that we cannot access this input because the content is too much that the keyword is stuck down here. So in this point, it's when we use KeyboardAvoidingView. KeyboardAvoidingView comes with React Native right out of the box, so we don't have to install anything. I'm going to import KeyboardAvoidingView like this. And now we can wrap this flat list and input with the keyboard avoiding view. So I'm gonna say keyboard avoiding view, and this keyboard avoiding view is going to take a style as well. So in order to take all the space available on screen, we need to say flex of 1. Sorry about that. So flex of 1, hit save, and now everything is going to look pretty much the same. And if I select the input, you're gonna see that nothing happens yet. So that is because we need to specify some settings here inside this keyboard avoiding view. I'm going to say behavior, and the behavior can have 3 values: height, padding, and position. So for iOS, it's going to be padding. And if I hit save now, you're gonna see that when we start selecting the the input, it's moving, but it's being covered by the keyword. So how can we fix this? Well, keyboard avoiding view has another property called offsets, keyboard vertical offset. Now you're gonna need to play with this number. I know that I need 60 pixels extra in this case, in this specific screen. And if I select now the input, you're gonna see that it's working. Now, let's say that we want to play with this number and we put 100. Now, let's see what happens. Now, the offset, it's too much, but still it's working, okay? And this is how it looks. Now, I'm going to put back this to 60. And one tip that I want to give you guys is that you can change this number dynamically depending on the height of the device. You can access the height by using, for example, the hook that comes from React Native, which is use window dimensions like this. And you can access, for example, the height and width and scale of the current device. So if I access the height and then I say console log height, you're gonna see in my console that this device has 852. Now, if you were to open this application on a iPhone SE, for example, you would see like, I don't know, like 600. I don't know the exact number, but you can then change this number depending on the height. So for example, if the height is greater than 700, you're gonna use 60. Otherwise, you can use 40, for example. We are not going to dive into that, but that's how you can manage to solve the issue. Now, if I try to open this on Android, you're gonna see that in a moment, I'm gonna bring my Android here. You're gonna see that this is not working on Android. And let me reload this application. Let's wait a little bit. Okay, here we have our Android device. But now if I go and press my input, you're gonna see that my app breaks completely. We are getting this weird behavior just on Android. How we can solve this? Well, we can use platform. So I'm gonna go back to my behavior here, and I'm going to change this to be specifically for the padding to be specifically for iOS. So I'm going to check if the current operating system is equal to iOS, then I want the behavior to be padding. Otherwise, I just want to be undefined. Now, if I hit save now, you're gonna see that my Android, it's avoiding the input, it's avoiding the keyboard. So it's working good, it's working fine. But we're getting this weird behavior that whenever we focus the input, the tabs are down here. So we want the keyboard to be just up in front of the tabs, right? So this is super weird and this is not good. And the way we solve this, it's actually super easy, specifically if you are using Expo. Let's go to the app.json. And for this, we need to just specify one thing inside the Android object that we have here. So I'm gonna say comma and then add software keyboard layout mode pan. Now, if I hit save, and now I need to restart my server, so I'm gonna say npx expo start again. This is going to restart the server. I'm going to reload my application on the Android device. And just by specifying this property, now when I select this input, you're gonna see that this is going to work just fine. And you can play with these modes. You can investigate this property to see what else you can do. But yeah, this is going to fix your problem for now. Now, before I finish with this video, guys, I wanted to show you another method that you can use when you are displaying many elements like a flat list and then an input. So for this example, I'm just going to copy this and then I'm going to comment this and paste it again here. Okay, now let's hit save. And for this example, what I want to do is just apply this keyboard avoiding view to my input. So if you pay attention, you're gonna see that this keyboard avoiding view is just wrapping the input. And now I want to change the behavior to be, I'm going to remove the Android device from now. And my behavior, I want it to be, in this case, position. Okay, hit save now, and let's see what happens. I'm going to reload my application, and I'm going to remove as well the keyboard vertical offset. Okay, now if I do a scroll down, you're gonna see that we are not seeing this this input. I'm going to remove the flex, hit save, and there we go. Okay, and as you can see, when I'm pressing this input, it's moving again, but it's not working perfectly fine. And the way we solve this, guys, it's basically just accessing one property that we can use inside this flat list. And this property is going to be automatically adjust keyboard insets. If I hit save now, and now I select the keyword, you're gonna see that it still is not working, but I can add again here the keyboard offset of 60 that I just removed. And let's try this again. And as you can see, the input is on top of the last message or of the last element in this scroll view. So the way we can solve this now is just adding a padding bottom here, and we can add the height of the input, which is, I believe, 60 or something like that. And now if I press this, you're gonna see that the last message is above the input. Okay, so this is working fine, and now we don't have to scroll. If you remember in the last version or the last example here, when we opened the input or the keyboard, we had to scroll down a little bit, but you can also automate this by, I don't know, adding a reference to the flat list, and then when you open the keyboard, you can scroll down, for example. But yeah, this is basically what I wanted to show you guys. As you can see, it's so much better now with, I believe, with this approach, but you can use both. Of course, you can play with the values as well. You can play with the settings, but yeah, this is basically what I wanted to show you guys. As you can see, it's a pretty short video, but very informative. And yeah, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe. Don't forget to go to codewithbeto.dev, check out the course, check out the resources, and check out the source code of this project. Give it a like, leave me a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, bye.